At my baby shower, my husband's mother stood up and declared, "That baby belongs to our family, sign over custody now." I laughed, thinking it was a joke, until my husband slid a stack of legal papers in front of me. "Sign it, or you'll regret it," he whispered. My heart pounded, but I stayed calm and smiled. "I have my own surprise for you," I said. When the door swung open, everyone turned pale. "Okay, so this happened a few weeks ago, and I'm still trying to process everything." I wasn't sure if I should post this, but after a lot of thinking and reading stories here, I figured maybe someone out there has gone through something similar. This is long, but every part matters. So here goes. I, 31 female, was 7 months pregnant and planning what I thought would be a simple baby shower with close friends and family. I live in Charleston, South Carolina, and I've been with my husband, 34 male, Richard, for 6 years, married for 4. I met him at a small gallery opening downtown and fell for his quiet confidence. He comes from a well-off family. His mother, Margaret, is intense. Controlling, upper-class Southern woman, always dressed like she's meeting the mayor. I never really fit with her expectations, but she tolerated me, at least I thought she did. The baby shower was at our home. We kept it cozy, pastel decorations, cake, gifts, laughter. I remember sitting on our couch, big belly in front of me, unwrapping a baby monitor from a friend when everything started falling apart. Margaret stood up. She tapped her glass with a spoon like she was about to give a wedding toast. I laughed and said, "Oh, here we go," thinking she'd make some passive-aggressive joke or tell a weird story about Richard's childhood. But then she said, "This baby belongs to our family. It's time to make it official. Sign over custody now." I stared at her. People laughed nervously. I laughed too. I thought it was a sick joke. "Wait, what?" I asked. She didn't laugh. Neither did Richard. Instead, he reached behind a throw pillow and pulled out a manila folder. He placed it on my lap and leaned in close. "Sign it," he whispered. "Or you'll regret it." At first I couldn't move. My brain was trying to catch up. I looked around the room. Everyone was frozen. My mom had her hand over her mouth. My best friend Lisa looked like she was about to throw something. My heart started racing, but somehow I stayed calm. I opened the folder. Legal documents. Real ones. A petition for full custody. Not shared. Full. With some bizarre temporary guardianship clause that would give Richard's parents full custody immediately due to maternal instability. "What the hell?" I asked, quietly, "Is this a prank?" Richard didn't answer. Margaret did. "We just think it's best for the baby. You're not capable of raising a child on your own. You didn't grow up with structure. You didn't grow up with class. We're only doing what's right." There were gasps. Lisa stood up. "You've lost your damn mind," she said to Margaret. I looked at Richard. He wasn't blinking. Just sitting there like a statue, watching me. "You're serious?" I asked him. Still no answer. I closed the folder, placed it on the coffee table, and took a deep breath. Then I smiled. "Okay," I said. "I've got a surprise too." And right on cue, the front door opened. 2 officers stepped inside. In full uniform. I'll never forget the sound of their boots on the hardwood floor. "Mrs. Morgan?" one of them asked. "Yes," I said, standing up. "We're here based on your report and the evidence you provided." Now everyone was really freaking out. People jumped back, phones came out. Margaret's face turned red, then white. Richard's hand gripped the armrest like he was holding onto a cliff. The officer turned to Richard. "Richard Morgan, you're under arrest for attempted coercion and conspiracy to commit fraud." "You have the right to remain silent," Margaret screamed. Not yelled, screamed. She lunged forward but the other officer blocked her. "You can't arrest my son. That woman is unstable." "Ma'am," the officer said, "please stay back. You're also being detained." I watched as they cuffed my husband. He didn't fight it. Didn't say a word. Just stared at me. Like I was a stranger. They started leading him toward the door, and that's when he finally spoke. "You did this?" he asked, barely above a whisper. "I protected my baby," I said. "Here's the part one haven't shared yet. A few months ago, I found out Richard and his mom were looking into alternative guardianship options. That's what triggered it. Something felt off. Richard had started making weird comments about how stressful pregnancy seemed for me. He suggested I take a long rest after the baby came. Margaret kept hinting she'd hire a nanny, one she picked. So I did what I had to. I hired a PI. Found out they had meetings with lawyers. Margaret even reached out to a judge who she knew from a charity board. It was real. They wanted to take my child. I gathered everything: calls, emails, even a recorded conversation between Margaret and Richard discussing how I wasn't going to fight back. I handed it all to the police. And I waited. I waited until they tried to make their move. And then I made mine. The officers took them both away. Half the guests left in shock. A few stayed and hugged me. Lisa never let go of my hand. My mom cried in the kitchen. And me? I sat back down, looked at the pile of gifts, and thought about how close I came to losing my child before they were even born. This is still ongoing. I haven't given birth yet. The legal stuff is still unfolding. There's more, a lot more, but I'll update when I can. I just needed to get this off my chest. Alright, here's the update. It's been 3 weeks since my baby shower turned into a full-on legal ambush, and things have gone from insane to downright terrifying. After Richard and Margaret were arrested, I thought things would settle down. I was wrong. They were released on bail 2 days later. I wasn't surprised. Margaret's family has money, and she knows people in the system. But I didn't expect what happened next. First, I started getting letters in the mail. Not official ones, these were anonymous. Sloppy handwriting, no return address. Stuff like, "You're ruining a good man's life. Your baby deserves a better family. Watch yourself." The first couple I shrugged off. But then they started coming daily. Then my car tires were slashed. All 4. While it was parked in my driveway. I called the cops again. They couldn't prove anything, obviously. But I knew it was them. I knew it. Who else would have this much reason to harass a very pregnant woman? Lisa moved in with me for a while. She didn't even ask, just showed up with her suitcase and said, "I'm not letting you deal with this alone." Bless her. I don't know what I would have done without her. But then it got worse. I got a call from Child Protective Services. CPS. They told me they received an anonymous report that I was unfit to raise a child. That I was mentally unstable, prone to violent outbursts, and had a history of substance abuse. I laughed when they said it. Then I cried. Then I told them to come to the house immediately and see for themselves. They came. Spoke to me. Spoke to Lisa. Looked around. Saw the nursery. Took notes. Left politely. 2 days later, they called back. Said the case was unfounded. Closed. But warned me that another report like that could reopen things. Guess who has a longtime family friend that works as a child wellness consultant? Yeah. They're trying to build a case to take my baby before I even give birth. But here's where the twist comes in. Remember the private investigator I hired? Turns out, he's been doing a lot more digging than I asked for. And what he found? Richard has a second phone. He used it to talk to someone. Repeatedly. A woman. The PI tracked the number. It belongs to Alyssa, my OBGYN's assistant. Yeah. Let that sit for a second. Alyssa had access to all my records. My appointments. My due date. Everything. I didn't notice anything off with her before. She was always polite, even sweet. But now that I think back, she asked a lot of personal questions. Like, are you planning to breastfeed or bottle? Are you doing a home birth? Do you have family to help you after delivery? Way too much curiosity for someone just handing me vitamin samples. The PI pulled messages. Not all, but enough to see that she was feeding Richard info. Possibly more. They were close. Too close. Now I'm sitting here 35 weeks pregnant, knowing that the man I married not only tried to steal my baby, but might have been having an affair with the woman who had access to my medical history. And guess what? I'm not the only one he's done this to. There's another woman. Not just an ex. A woman who says she was pregnant by him. 4 years ago. She reached out to me. Her name is Stephanie. She said she saw my story on a local mom's Facebook group. Yeah, it's spread there now. She recognized Richard. Sent me a message. According to her, she got pregnant, and when she told him, he flipped. Said she was unfit. Tried to get her to have an abortion. When she refused, he offered to pay her to go away. She moved out of state. She sent me pictures. Of the baby. Of Richard holding the baby in the hospital, back when he was still pretending to care. I asked her why she's telling me this now. She said, because I know what he's capable of. So now, I'm talking to my lawyer about getting an emergency restraining order. Again. Because clearly the first one wasn't enough. Oh, and the baby? Still kicking. Still healthy. Still mine. But I sleep with my phone under my pillow. Lisa and I have cameras set up around the house. I don't go out alone. Every day I wonder what their next move is. Because I know they're not done. And neither am I. Okay. I didn't think I'd be posting again this soon, but something happened last night that flipped everything upside down. I haven't slept. I'm writing this at 4 a.m. because if I don't get it out now, I'm going to lose it. So after everything I shared, the fake CPS report, the vandalism, the anonymous threats, and finding out about Alyssa, the assistant to my OB, and Stephanie, the other woman with Richard's child, I thought I had seen it all. Nope. Last night, I went into the nursery to double-check the bag I've been prepping for the hospital. Just a habit. Lisa was in the living room watching a movie, and I had this weird feeling in my chest, like static. When I turned on the light, something felt off. The baby monitor camera was tilted down. I never touched it. Lisa wouldn't either. I walked up to it and realized it had been unscrewed. Slightly. Enough that it was hanging a bit from the wall mount. Then I checked the SD card slot. It was gone. I called Lisa in. We checked every camera in the house. The back porch one had also been adjusted. And the spare bedroom, the one that's basically just storage? That door was cracked open. It's always closed. Lisa and I looked at each other, both thinking the same thing, someone's been in this house. We called the cops. They came, searched, found no forced entry. But get this, there were boot prints on the balcony. Our balcony. We're on the 2nd floor. Someone climbed up. Possibly entered through the sliding door we sometimes leave unlocked when we're out there during the day. That was our mistake. But it gets worse. While the officers were still there, I get a call. Unknown number. I don't answer. Goes to voicemail. After they leave, I check it. It was a man's voice. Calm. Way too calm. He says, "You should have signed the papers. It would have been cleaner." Then it cuts. I'm not making this up. I have it saved. I played it for the cops. They're now escalating it to a potential home invasion investigation. But here's the twist. Later that night, Lisa remembers something. A few days ago, we got a baby gift dropped off on the front step. No note. Just a pink stuffed bunny in a gift bag. We didn't think much of it. Put it on the shelf in the nursery. Guess where the camera was pointing? Right at that bunny. We opened it up. There was a tiny black object inside. A listening device. We took it to the police. They confirmed it. Someone bugged our nursery. Someone has been listening to everything said in that room for who knows how long. And we have a pretty damn good idea who. So yeah, this has gone from dramatic to dangerous. I also found out something else. That consultant Margaret mentioned in her email thread, the one the PI pulled? He's not just a consultant. He used to be a private adoption lawyer. I'm starting to think this wasn't about me being unfit at all. I think they planned to take the baby before I gave birth. I think they were going to say I was unstable. That I agreed to sign over custody voluntarily. They'd file the paperwork through their lawyer friend, and when the baby was born, they'd take him right from the hospital. Like I didn't exist. I called my OB office this morning. I asked to speak to someone other than Alyssa. I told them I didn't feel safe and requested all my records be sealed and password protected. They agreed and flagged my account. And now, I'm moving. Tomorrow. Lisa's cousin owns a lake cabin 2 hours away. I'll stay there until the baby comes. Just me and Lisa. No forwarding address. No social media updates. No one but my lawyer and the police will know where I am. And if you think this is too crazy to be real, I wish it was fiction. But I'm still living it. And the scariest part? Richard isn't in jail. Margaret isn't either. They're walking free. And they're not done yet. We moved into the cabin. Remote, quiet, surrounded by trees. Lisa made sure we had supplies. My phone stayed off most days except for calls to my lawyer. I was just trying to stay calm and carry the baby safely to the finish line. But peace didn't last. A week before my due date, Lisa got a text from an unknown number. No message. Just a picture. Of me. Sleeping. In the cabin. Belly exposed, blanket pulled halfway down. We lost it. Called the police immediately. That was the last straw. They sent someone to stay nearby 24/7. My lawyer pushed harder for a protective order that actually worked. And then, 2 days later, I went into labor. It was early. Sudden. Pain sharp enough to drop me to my knees in the kitchen. Lisa helped me into the car and we drove like hell to the nearest hospital. Here's where it gets crazy. We walk into the ER, and guess who's standing there, like some twisted ghost? Alyssa. Holding a clipboard, dressed in scrubs. My OB's office had no idea she was fired 2 days earlier after I exposed her connection to Richard. And yet there she was, ready to check me in. I froze. Lisa snapped into action and shoved her aside. Nurses rushed in. Security was called. Turns out, Alyssa forged a temporary volunteer badge to get in. She was arrested on the spot. I was wheeled into delivery, adrenaline shaking through me harder than contractions. But I gave birth to a healthy baby boy. He's perfect. He came into this world screaming and strong, like he already knew the kind of fight it took to get here. I thought that was the end. It wasn't. 2 days later, in my hospital room, while I was breastfeeding, my door opened. It was Richard. He walked in like he owned the place, dressed like he came from a business meeting, holding a tiny blue stuffed bear. He looked at the baby. Then at me. You named him James? He asked. I didn't answer. He stepped forward. Lisa stood up, blocking his path. You need to leave. I just want to talk, he said. I have a right. No, I said quietly, still holding James. You gave that up the moment you tried to steal him before he was even born. And that's when everything boiled over. He started yelling. Not at me, at Lisa. You filled her head with paranoia. You poisoned her against her own family. I laughed. Not out of joy, just disbelief. You bugged my nursery. You sent people to follow me. You lied to CPS. And you think Lisa's the problem? He turned to me then. I was trying to protect the baby. You don't know what you're doing. You didn't grow up right, no structure, no real family. You're unstable. Lisa was about to call security again, but I held up my hand. I'm going to say this once, I said, shaking but steady. You and your mother planned to take my baby and erase me. But I found out. And I stopped you. You don't get to spin this. You tried to steal my child. He looked stunned. I'm his father. And you're dangerous, I said. Just then, the door opened again. My lawyer stepped in, with 2 hospital security guards. You've violated the protective order, Mr. Morgan, he said calmly. You're going to need to leave. Right now. Richard tried to say something. One last word. But all he could do was stare at James, then me, and finally, he turned and walked out. That was the last time I saw him. The aftermath was messy. Margaret tried to sue for grandparent rights. Didn't work. The evidence of what they did, the attempted fraud, the harassment, the home invasion, was too much. The court ruled she had no standing to request visitation. Alyssa lost her job, her license, and is under investigation. Richard is out there somewhere. He sent one letter through his lawyer. A reflection on his behavior. It sounded like a PR stunt more than an apology. I didn't respond. Lisa stayed with me through everything. She held James during my first night home when I couldn't stop crying. She took pictures of him while he slept and whispered, "You're safe now, little guy." My mom eventually flew back in to stay with us too. And James? He's growing. Thriving. His eyes are wide and curious. His laugh sounds like sunlight. As for me, I'm not the same woman who opened baby shower gifts on the couch, smiling at people I thought were family. I'm stronger. Wiser. And tired, but not broken. I still carry the weight of what happened. The betrayal. The fear. The way I almost lost everything. But I also carry my son. And I will never let him forget how hard I fought to keep him safe. People will try to tell you who you are. Some will even try to write your story for you. But if you stay quiet, they win. So I spoke. And now, I get to write the next chapter myself. For me. And for James.